All right, all right, all right. Here we go. We had a glitch. There was a glitch. Oh, there was a glitch. There was a glitch. All right, so there was a glitch. So we're restarting the whole stream. No worries. Sometimes that happens. Let's go cross post some more pages. Let's go over to YFYI. Save that. Hide that. Let's try it again. Everything looks good now. 3, 2, 1. We had a glitch. All right, so we're going live there. We're gonna get that going. All right, that looks good. I think we're in the game. Just got to get this charger hooked up on my other phone. What's up? What's up? Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hope you guys are doing amazing. Hope you're feeling great on this Wednesday morning. You know, sometimes it's like, what is Wednesday morning? Hump day? Good morning, good morning. Welcome to Hump Day. I like to call it welcome to a new day, which means there's a new opportunity. We're going live, all channels, calling all channels, live. Looks like we have a little bit of hardcore glare happening over there. How's everybody doing this morning? Ready for another story time? Ready for another story time? That's what time it is. It's story time with Sunny D. Hope you guys are feeling good today. Thanks for being here. Thanks for tuning in. Just trying to get a couple of things situated. Monday through Friday, I come to you guys Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern Time. We do story time. What is story time? Story time is where I come to you and share with you some of the battle stories, some of the adventures, some of the trials, some of the tribulations, some of the stories that I've experienced while beginning my career as a future professional at Paul Mitchell the School, many moons ago to where I'm at currently, which is navigating through the big bad world of owning a salon, which really where I'm at currently is navigating through this coronavirus, the corona economy, as I call it. It's a new dawn. It's a new day. I'm excited to be here, excited to spend some time with you this morning, excited to talk a little bit about the new state of the union. We're all finding out day by day. We're supposed to get some big updates today for all of us here in Florida. We got some updates from our governor the other day for our group, our peeps out in Texas. You know, we're hoping to get our salons back open. We're hoping to be open and back up full, business, but not business as usual. Business as usual is something that I talked a little bit about yesterday. That ship is gone. That ship has sailed. It's going to be a new approach. It's going to be a new business. It's going to be a new everything. So as you're getting geared up, and you're thinking about what's going to happen, how's it going to be? A couple of things I want to share with you. Depending on what business you're in, what industry you're in, your services, your products, if they had value before, they're going to have value again. Your services, your products are going to continue to be needed in the marketplace if they were needed before, unless they weren't. So what do I mean by that? Unless they weren't. Some businesses, some products are not going to be around after, the economy fully opens back up. Some businesses and some products are going to be transformed. They're going to look a little different after this. Got my tea going. Some businesses, some products that are going to appear on the scene you're never have been even heard of before when you come back, into the economy. Right now, our economy's been really limited to, essentials. You have to go to the doctor. You got to get some groceries. You have to do, food, things like that, essentials only. There's been a lot of people out on the road. There's been a lot of cars out on the road. I've been out on the road if I'm either, making some of those essential trips, and you see people on the road, and then you have people that, had to work during all this time, that were all of our frontline workers, our medical staff, our police, some of the people that were hit the hardest by the coronavirus that, because they were right there in the face of it and it being so highly contagious. So there's been people out there, doing that, but there's about to be a whole lot more. As states start to open up, here we are, it's almost May. States are going to start opening up. Some states that'll be opening later. Some of the states that were hit really hard. Some of those states will be on standby. Some states have already opened. So as we start to get ready and get geared up, the biggest thing I want you to keep in mind is you're going to have products and services that were wanted and or needed and or purchased before. If you were a provider of those products or services, you're going to have customers. But what you're going to have to think about, though, is how you're going to approach those customers, how you're going to service those customers, how you're going to just approach your business. And I don't like to say can't wait for this to get back to normal, because that doesn't exist anymore. We have a new normal. We have a new reality. So welcome to 2020 new, the new reality going into May. Most states will open up in the month of May. Some will take a little longer. Some may be June. Some may be even longer than that. But as you're thinking about going back, and maybe your state is one of those that's kind of ready and you're excited, right? Because you're like, all right, we're getting ready to open. We're getting ready to get back to business. Just keep in mind, it's not back to the business that it was. It's going to be back to a new business. You're going to be coming back to a new business. You're going to be coming back to deliver an experience, but it's going to be a new experience. You have to keep that in mind if you're providing that service or that experience, but I also want you to keep that in mind if you're receiving that service or that experience. You know, you can't go running in there thinking it's all good, like everything's like it used to be, because it won't be. So there's going to be stores are going to, and some are going to be putting on precautions you're going to think are ridiculous. Some are going to be not putting on maybe enough precautions you may think are too, lax. There's going to be lots of in-betweens. But just go out there knowing, that there is going to be a little attitude shift. There's going to be a physical shift. There is going to be this like little new heightened sense of, awareness. There is going to be some gray areas and some confusion. But you don't have to get weird. Just know that everyone's experiencing it. It's not just you. You're not going to be the only one experiencing it and wondering like, why am I afraid to go into that store? Why am I afraid to do this or that? Everyone is experiencing and going to be experiencing a lot of these things as we go back. But I'm definitely excited to get back. I'm definitely excited to have my team be able to get back. We've gotten real crafty. We've gotten real creative during this downtime. We've had to become work at home or work from home stylists. And how do you do that? I've become a work from home, stylist and a work from home salon owner. We've been, trying and testing and working in a lot of different ways and being stretched in a lot of different ways that we've never had before. And I've been sharing a lot of that with you guys as we've been coming here every morning, 9 a.m. Eastern time for story time. During my opening, sharing with you guys some of the things that we're doing, some of the things that are working, some of the things that are working well, and some aren't. What's going on? Oh, what's up? Oh, yeah, Mario, what's up, man? Me and Mario were at Facebook. A few years back, we're at Facebook hanging out over in Menlo Park. What's going on, bro? Story time is where we're at. So come into story time, come into story time 9 a.m., right? Having something, trying to have some sense of, your routine. So my routine's completely changed. A lot of you guys out there, whether you're on Instagram or you're on, Facebook, on one of the Facebook pages we're on, a lot of things have changed, and you're going to have to get back into a routine. It's not going to be back into the same routine when you go back that you were accustomed to. So that's the big thing, guys. You got to be flexible. We're all going to have to be super flexible when we go back. And we're going to have to be understanding when we go back. Know that a lot of people are going to be a little skittish. A lot of people are going to be a little hesitant. When you go in, especially if you're in our industry, there's a lot of hugging going on. We had a wonderful guest artist at our Live at 5, our team meeting we do every single day. We had one of our top, Paul Mitchell educators, artistic directors, VPs that joined us. And, and she was talking about how she's such a big hugger. Stephanie Kuchelski, thank you again. We love you. She was talking about how she's such a big hugger and, and toucher. And, and now that's going to kind of change because now you're going to have to pull back a little bit. There's going to be a little bit of hesitation. All that is going to be normal, for going back. That is the new normal in the Corona economy. The Corona economy has shifted everything. You're going to be looking at that. So that personal interaction in your business, you're going to be looking at that between your friends. You're going to be looking at, also if you're a business owner, you're going to have to be looking at your sales a little bit different. A lot of my restaurant friends and people that own bars, they're going to have to open up maybe 25% capacity, slowly eking up to 50%. So that half of that revenue is going to be gone. And maybe if you're able to tip a little extra. Just understand, like, everyone's going to be adjusting. Everyone is going to be adjusting to all of these new norms. But the norm as we knew it is gone. Welcome to the Corona Economy 2020. So I'm excited to get, back because I know there's going to be a lot of challenges and I like a challenge. Right. That's why I'm an entrepreneur. I didn't know what an entrepreneur was. I just was a business guy. I was selling cigarettes in middle school. I was selling candy. I was selling whatever I could sell. I just did it. I didn't know I never knew the term, never heard of an entrepreneur, never knew what it was. I found out, a few years ago that what I do is called entrepreneurship. I just call it hustling, making money, being a businessman or being a business dude. So if you think about it, and you're one of those that likes that challenge, then, this new economy, the Corona economy, is built for you. It's going to be built for you to get out there and challenge yourself. It's going to be built for you to get out there and push yourself. It's going to be built for you to get out there, if you're working and leading a team, to challenge your team. You know, I've been reading from the second book in the YFY book series over these past several episodes. This is, what is this, episode 18? And so we got 18 days. I've come to you guys at 9 a.m. Eastern time and shared stories with you from these books. YFY, the book series. The first book, we read this whole book together, YFY, Your First Year in the Beauty Industry, How to Not Just Survive But Thrive. And now we're reading the second book together, Your First Year in Salon Ownership. And just sharing some of the stories, the battle stories, the scars, the ups, the downs. But coming to you and reading these stories has given me not only hope, but given me excitement, because I know I've got a lot to do. I've got a lot to learn. I've got a lot to experience, and I'm getting ready to go back into the battlefield just like you. I mean, it's always a battlefield, right? Life is a battlefield. And so as you're getting prepared and getting going, you know, one of the things that our art director yesterday shared with us when we were on our live at 5 with the team was just about, you know, how we shampoo everybody, but shampooing your mind, shampooing your life, looking at these different areas. And I thought it was just great to think about that. Like, you know, what are you going to do? How are you going to act? You know, you have an opportunity to reinvent yourself again, right? We in the beauty industry, we're always reinventing ourselves, reinventing our style, reinventing our approach, reinventing our hair, reinventing this and that. But you have an opportunity right now to reinvent yourself again. So how are you going to go back to work? You know, how are you going to go back to those guests? How are you going to go back to your finances? You know, if you found out, like, over these last, you know, month and a half, however long, I mean, we've been out now, you know, it's going on 7 weeks. We probably, by the time we open, will be out a full, you know, 8 weeks. You know, we're going to find out a lot about yourself, a lot about, you know, whoever you live with, a lot about your finances, a lot about your place of employment. You know, some people aren't going to have a place of employment to go back to, and they're going to have to start a new career. That's okay. There's going to be some new careers out there, because there's going to be some new businesses that never existed. So when you go back, though, how are you going to go back? How are you going to be changed for the better? How are you going to have a fresh set of eyes? How are you going to have a new pair of spectacles to look at the world through? What's that view going to look like? You know, all of these things as you're preparing, you know, and we're coming in, hopefully, you know, this is the home stretch as we get to open back up. Now, it's like, you know, I think about my dogs when they get excited, right, to go outside, and then I open the door and they just rip, they fly. They don't know what's going to be out there. Usually they do that in the morning. Sometimes at night, one of them's a little skittish, she pulls back some because she's a little bit like, oh, I don't know about this. So it's okay if you don't feel like when they open up the economy, running back out there, you know, high speed, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with you, because I know I'm not sprinting back. You know, I'm opening up. And we've been opening our salon now for the last 8 weeks. We've been opening it in here. We've been opening it up to criticism. We've been opening it up to suggestions. We've been opening it up to ideas. We've been opening it up in here. So when we physically go back and open it, it's not a shocker, right? And of course, people are going to need haircuts. They're going to want to do hair color. They're going to want to get a head massage. They're going to want to have some one-on-one interaction, you know, as a therapeutic, you know, part of their lifestyle. That's going to continue. But if they don't come sprinting back in, and if you don't go sprinting back out, that's okay. So just want you guys to be keeping that in mind as we're getting ready to open up the economy. And I'm excited. I'm excited to get back, but I'm also excited because I know we're gonna have some challenges and have new things to navigate. And that's what keeps life interesting, right? And our Earth is going to feel a little bit better. You know, Earth has gotten a little bit of a break from all of us out there wearing her down over and over. She's gotten a little bit of a break. Last Saturday night, we had a party. It was Earth Night. We celebrated all of our tea tree brands. We were online for about 2-3 hours. Going through. We had some amazing guest artists. The great Robert Cromine stopped by. He's the global artistic director for Paul Mitchell. We had Kelly Gardena stop by. We had Gary Spellman stop by, our culture ambassador. They shared some words of wisdom, some encouragement and inspiration. We're planning another party for this Friday night. Details will be coming out about that party today. Be another online party, and we may do one or two more, during this Corona, closure. But then after, we may keep them going because a lot of people are having fun with those. We're having fun doing them, and it's a new way to connect. And it's an entirely new model. So being able to experiment with new models and try new things has been what this Corona shutdown has been about for me. Hopefully you guys are trying some new things, you're experimenting, and you're also thinking, what could I do differently, and how am I going to be prepared if this and when the next thing happens. I talked a little bit about that, in starting when I got into the numbers chapter. Talked about it's not the first, won't be the last. So we've gone through quite a few chapters. And all of these, I've been jumping off script so I can share a little bit more on, my thoughts currently. And that's one of the great things I think with Storytime that I've had, and hopefully you guys have enjoyed, is being able to, as I'm reading through, to edit real time, because this one, this was written a couple years ago, looking back at, the experiences that I've had, but I'm also now looking forward and making some real time edits. So we went through yesterday, we went through hiring process, and we talked about, what things to consider when you're building your team or when you're hiring yourself. I want you to think about that too. One time in our salon, we did just a kind of like a reset, and I had everybody come in and we did a hiring event. But it wasn't like we're hiring new people. It was with the people we already had. And everybody got re-interviewed and got rehired and or fired. And we had, one of the people that was there, the team had made a decision that they were going to let him go. And it was kind of, people were teared up, they were crying. And it was like one of those things where it was an experiment on my part, but it was also just a check. Sometimes we need to get ourselves checked and to see where we're at, see what's happening under the hood. Because sometimes we get in these, you kind of get in the rut or the routine, and it becomes like Groundhog Day. And so I think with the coronavirus, what's happened is we all got checked, and we're all getting rehired into the economy. But when you come back into the economy, would you rehire yourself? What skills do you need to take in with you now? What new things do you need to bring to the new economy, the Corona economy, that you weren't bringing before? What new approaches do you need to take to work that you weren't taking before? And so I want you to think about that and, the hiring process. And today we're going to be going into the chapter on career paths. There's lots of different career paths in our industry and in any industry. And sometimes you even make a new career path. Sometimes the job that you want, you have to create. The job that you want may not be already listed on the company bulletin board or in the company operations manual. Sometimes you have to create the position, and then you have to interview for it, hire yourself for it, and then promote yourself in it. So career paths it's a great subject. There's a lot there. We're going to go through that chapter today. And as we're going through this chapter, I want you to think about where you're at in your career path. Whether you're a solo artist, whether you're in a company, working your way, up the ladder, right? We don't really have a ladder really in our company. It's kind of like it's kind of like I don't even know how you would describe it, because you can move up, you can move sideways, you can move forward, back. I don't know if it's a checker. I don't know, checkers or chessboard or something like that, but it's definitely not a ladder. But as you're working in your company, thinking about where you're at right now. If you're not working in a company, you're working by yourself, I want you to think about where you're at in your career path. And as we're going through this, make some notes on where you're at. Where do you want to be? Where do you want to be in the next year? Where do you want to be in the next 6 months? Where do you want to be in the next 6 days? Hopefully not at your house anymore. I understand that's true. So this is chapter 6, and we're going to start with a quote. I want a job that has no career advancement opportunities. said no employee ever. Chapter 6, Career Paths. Are we there yet? Those are words that as a child you may have muttered before, huh? Maybe so, maybe no. But one thing I can guarantee you is that your parents didn't want to hear it. The reason why, because they knew exactly where they were at and where they were going. They knew how much longer until they got there. You, on the other hand, had no clue, so you grew antsy, very impatient, eager, maybe to arrive at a destination you had no idea about. Unfortunately, this is how most people operate their lives. The very life that you only get one of. Can you believe it? I can't. One of my greatest mentors, Zig Ziglar, speaks of the options you have in life. You can either be a wandering generality or you can be a meaningful specific. Just like when you set a specific goal or have a defined target, the likelihood of you achieving it increases tenfold. Really, it's not even just achieving that target. The likelihood of you achieving anything dramatically increases. So if that's the case, wouldn't you agree that designing a business should include a career path that does the same thing? A career path that maps out the way to the different targets along the route. Here I want to share some of the things to consider when designing yours. For starters, you have to remind yourself why this business needs to exist in the first place. Hopefully, it's making a major improvement over anything else that exists out there. Or better yet, creating a brand new approach. Take a step back and think about your own career path. How well is it designed? What would make it not a good but great career path? Because in the end, you are designing this career path for you just as much as you're designing it for your employees, co-workers, and teammates to follow. And who knows, if one day you wake up and you've had a company-wide walkout, then you might end up being the only one following it. That is, unless you quit too. So with that in mind, doesn't it make sense to design something great? Number one, time. And as you're thinking about this, we're talking about designing, designing anything, right? Always keep that, from the chapter earlier previous when we talked about starting with the end in mind. Always keep that at the forefront. So we're going to get into these pieces of the career path. Here we go. Number one, time. First things first, there's old father time. We only have so much of it. No one knows exactly how much, but it's ticking. So as you chart out your career path, take it into consideration. Realistically, how long does it take to master something? I've heard 10,000 hours, which sounds reasonable. Truly, I'm not sure, but I think some things take a lifetime to master. For that reason, in my company, we don't throw that term around lightly. Really now. Really, now that I think of it, we don't use that term at all. It cracks me up when I see people having been out of school for a year, put master haircutter, master colorist, or master stylist, etc., fill in the blank, in their Instagram bio. I mean, really, you're now a master? When I think of the word master, I get the vision of an old crusty dude catching a fly with a pair of chopsticks. If you can't picture that, Google Karate Kid's Mr. Miyagi or Master Splinter from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I mean, they've just been at it forever. In today's day and age, though, people can't see that far out. So you've got to bring the picture into more relevant focus. Think first year. Number one. What are the critical skills for someone just starting out in your company to learn in that first 365 days? We call our first year stylist new talent. In that period, we want them to learn all of our proprietary systems, fancy term for things we created in-house that are unique to the Salon 1.0. By no means are they masters, but en route to becoming one and becoming well-versed in just those areas. Next, move into year two. Now that they have a great understanding of the job from both a technical point of view and a philosophical point of view, our values, vision, and mission, then it's time to move on or be promoted. We call the next level element. Element 1, which leads to element 2, 3, 4, and 5. I've heard different terms such as levels or junior, senior, etc. Whatever works for you. It's not so much the term as to what's required to move from one level to the next. One thing I will definitely caution you against is promoting just for the sake of promoting, or even worse, promoting because you're in a financial pinch and we need to make some more money. If you do this, promote for the sizzle, but have no stake or substance, not only will you be cheating the stylist, but also the guest won't tolerate that for long and will feel taken advantage of. So just a couple of things on that. So thinking about time, right? You don't have, I mean, it's not going to be an exact science. It's not going to be, well, it takes you exactly this many months to move to this. Some people are going to move faster than others. Have some freedom built in there for overachievers. Have some freedom. You got to have standards, but have some freedom so people can operate and move at their own pace. Back to the book. Number 2, task. When you're planning the progression from one level to the next, consider that what the important tasks are to be completed. Also, how the tasks to go from one level to the next build on each other. Make the task as specific as possible and progressively more challenging. You also need to hold each person accountable. We do this through final assessments, where a director, or most of the time myself, will watch a live model presentation to ensure the skill requirements are met. We are not just checking boxes or promoting because we like someone. The assessor must have integrity, have the best interest of the company and development of that person in mind. More importantly, the assessor must be proficient in whatever they're assessing someone in. I call that walking the talk. It's for that same reason that I believe if you've never built a successful business behind the chair, you ain't got no business trying to teach someone those skills. Number 3, trajectory. In designing your career path, you want the path or the trajectory to be clear, tested, and proven. Until you go through it and have other people go through it, a lot of it will be ideas and theory. That's why you have to monitor it very closely in the beginning and make real-time adjustments to what's working and what isn't. I use asterisk when I put time frames by how one level can take and how long it will take to get to the next level for that reason. You never know how motivated a person may be to move up, or if along the way we discover more efficient ways to accomplish a task. As you have people moving along the path, you will see predictable patterns start to appear. Initially in my career path design, I went out as far as 5 years. That meant including the new talent phase to go through the entire career path would take approximately 6 years. So again, just want to jump back in here, thinking about the timing again. The asterisk on the time, because some people, yes, they're going to blow through, they're going to move through fast. You know, in the system that we have designed, that 5 years, that's just been testing, that's been trial and error, that's been looking at what's really possible, what's achievable, what have people done. And I've reiterated over the past 10 years, I've adjusted, I've taken new approaches. I shared with you guys the other day just about our onboarding process. We used to have auditions, somebody come in and do some hair and show us da-da-da-da-da. And then I was like, why are we even doing that? Because I had some people that were really awesome at hair, but just sucked at being people. So I was like, I'm not really learning that much about who they are, about if they're going to be nice, about if they're going to, you know, if they're going to show up, if they're going to be a team player, if they're going to be a positive contribution, if they're going to help encourage and groom other people, if they're going to be a, you know, an inspiration to the new people. You know, those things are hard to test for, but I'll tell you one thing, you don't find out from them having them show you how they can do some foils or do a haircut or do some blow drying. You don't figure that stuff out. So that's when I changed that up. So that kind of adjusted that whole time frame. You know, if I find that I can get people moving, you know, and get them working and get them building, and not lose their momentum. Because think about when they come out of school, they've got some momentum going. They've been doing hair, they've been seeing guests. And if you bring them in the salon and then you got them on lockdown because they're now in your all-star, assisted program for the next 15 months, they may lose their motivation to do hair. So those are things that you learn over time and you can test and you can always reiterate and you can always make adjustments. But testing is huge. You got to test those things out. You got to try those. You got to try those different approaches when you're developing your career path for your people, so you can see like what's going to be, what's working, what's not working, and what can be adjusted. And then you can take those examples, you can take those cases, and you can continue to build on top of that. And you're always going to have outliers. You're always going to have some people that'll come into your career path and just totally defy all of the systems and totally, kind of rewrite the playbook for you. But those are not going to be the majority. Those are going to be the minority. You want to, as you're building your career path, you got to build it for, the average individual, what realistically can be done. And if you start putting time frames on it, think about using that asterisk, because it all comes with a little flexibility. The last part in your career paths is the numbers. Alongside your inspection of the technical aspects, you also want to establish criteria for the numbers. What performance levels must be met within each person's business? We track these numbers daily on our KPI tracker. If you want an example, you can shoot me a message, email me, and I'll send you one. Together with the artistic criteria, we've established our SOP, or Standard of Performance. It's a baseline that everyone must meet at every stage of their career. Quarterly sit-downs to go over all these areas, I believe, are critical to the success of your team. Along that ride when you were a kid, if your mom or dad checked in with you frequently with updates, you probably would have had more patience and gotten more fulfillment out of the ride. As working adults, not a lot has changed. So that's a bit about the career path. So as you guys are getting, if you're thinking about career path, and maybe like you don't own a business or have employees or have staff or have a team, but your own career path, you're still the designer, you're the architect of your own career path. So it doesn't just have to be you designing it for somebody else. It could be you designing it for you. But just know that your career path it's the roadmap. It's the trajectory of where you're going, and you can change it at any time. You can change careers. When I talked about, the length, if you think about doing something for career, like 20 years, say you start doing something. I know like the military is a good example. A lot of people join at 18. If they spend their career in the military, 20 years, they retire. Now they're 38, then they could start another career and they can do that. A career could be shorter than 20 years, but typically, you're going to see about 20 years. Think about some of the athletes, right? They start right out of college or high school. By the time they're like 40 or early 40s, they're finished with that career. Then they could start another career. So you may have multiple careers. I've had, 3, I guess you could say 4 different types of careers from the military, which I didn't stay in the military for 20 years, but from the military to, then my stint as a drug dealer, to working in restaurants, bartending, serving, and then to hair. And then those are just adult careers. And then as a kid, hustling, selling cigarettes, selling candy. So 4 or 5 careers is not uncommon. But when you find that you're switching careers a lot, that's probably because the career path. And remember, you may have to be the architect. You may have to be the designer. You may have to be the one that really kind of navigates the career path that you want, creates the career path that you want, builds, architects the career path that you want. So you're more likely to stay on it and you can enjoy it. So I hope you guys are on the career path that you want to be on. I hope you're excited to get back into your businesses, get back to work. We're at the tail end of this. I can feel it. We'll be back to work soon. But just remember, as you're going back, your career path may look a little different. Your work may look a little different. You're going to have to go back. You don't have to go sprinting back. I know maybe it's been wearing on you financially, emotionally. It's been draining, but we want to go back safe. You want yourself, your family to be safe. You want the people you're interacting with, your teammates to be safe. So as you're going back, just keep that in mind. Your career path may look a little different. This is the Corona economy. You might have to design a new Corona career path. So that's the chapter, guys. Thanks for hanging out with me for story time. Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. I'll be coming back to you tomorrow morning. We'll be reading again from Your First Year in Salon Ownership. If you want to check out and learn more about the books, just go to yourfirstyearin.com. Also, the podcast. If you want to listen to the show on the go, you go to yfypodcast.com. All these episodes are recorded. They're on the podcast. You can take me on the go with you if you're walking, running, biking, wherever you're at. And invite a friend. Bring a friend when you come back tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern. We'll be back tomorrow morning for another story time. Bring a friend. Tell them about the show. I look forward to seeing you back. Make sure if you haven't gotten your free YFY iHeart t-shirt, limited edition, you go over on my Facebook page. The links are on there. They're free. Just pay for shipping. You can check those out. If you're on Instagram, my Facebook page is just Sunny D. Pretty easy. You'll see all the links. You'll see the promo codes. You'll see all that fun stuff there. So thanks for hanging out with Storytime today. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. And I will see you and talk to you tomorrow. Instagram. See ya. Facebook. See ya.